Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Prize Fighters, Circus Freaks, and Gangsters. I'm Greta.
And I'm Jamie.
We are here to discuss the food, fashion, fighting, and fraud of the 19th century.
And fun! Don't forget fun.
That's true. There's fun this episode, even though the name of it is You Know When You're Losing a Fight. And that doesn't sound so fun.
This episode was fantastic. It was amazing.
Yes. And no cold open, because it's like, no. We got so much going on here. We just gotta go. We just gotta go.
So first, let's talk about Rennie, or it's Denny Gordon. I keep saying Rennie Harlan and thinking Denny Gordon. But so Denny Gordon, she also directed episodes 9 and 10 of last season. So the riot, she directed the riot, and then she directed the one where Penelope gets sent to the nuthatch. So
yes,
this woman used to direct Ally McBeal and stuff like that. Now is doing the most hardcore episodes of Warrior, and she did the last 2 episodes of this season of Halo.
Really?
It's as good as Warrior. It easily...
Okay, no, I haven't been watching it. I've been watching the commercials, and I'm like, so is the whole thing CG, or are there, actual filmed actors, or are they all cartooned?
No, it's like Star Wars. They did actual film actors. I mean, it's like a Star Wars movie, only it's Halo. And, yeah, so it's definitively Halo, but it's just like a Star Wars movie would be.
Okay, but, they show all the action scenes, and those are all CG.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, but so are the Avengers movies. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right. And I'm just saying, that's why I was I'm not sure.
Okay.
So, speaking of action scenes, we go into a more kind of Ally McBeal adjacent action scene. We get the wedding. We're starting off with the wedding. And
I am still astonished at how quickly they put this wedding together. I mean, but you said that they put these weddings together fast, but my God, the speed with which this went together was astonishing.
It's the same agency that put up the hand-painted mural. That's all I can assume.
Yeah, that perfectly done mural that was done by firelight in 8 hours or less in the aftermath of a riot.
But, this gang, this Tong, is totally fulfilling its obligation as sort of a major social player, and this wedding is entertainment for everybody else.
Yeah, and it opens with Kong Pak and Lee Yong sparring, and Kong Pak got the better of him, which I thought was very fun. He obviously surprised Lee Yong, but Lee Yong was just starstruck with the bliss of being wedded. So, yeah, there was definitely the fun with expressions going on, and Leong is just I'm just here, holy cow. Yeah, it's finally the day. I've been waiting my whole life for this. He's really doing that.
And Asam's just okay, sis, you got what you want. But I know you're never going to be happy. And Hong's face. We all know what Hong's face is. I love a party. Yeah,
and so was that a sausage or an egg roll, do you think he was eating? I couldn't really tell.
I think it was some sort of egg roll that he had in chopsticks that he was carrying around. Because, come on, at any sort of fancy Chinese thing, there's going to be things that people in back rooms with really fast fingers are hand rolling and hand pinching and hand folding. So they're going to go with something fancy like that. And
honestly, it makes better hygienic sense to carry your own chopsticks, and then you can just walk around and eat the street food. Because I'm seeing him walking around with chopsticks and eating the street food, and I was I've never seen anybody eat an egg roll with chopsticks before, but it makes perfect sense.
Oh, yeah, well, because he knows where his hands have been. He doesn't want to touch his food with that.
He has been beating up vagrants or whatever.
Right. But and just to be the flip side of Hong, young Jun is I hate this. I hate this all. I hate everyone here. I'm filled with hate.
I hate. And Atoy and Wong Chow show up together.
Right. Yeah. And they are the people that I would want to sit next to, because they are going to be talking all the shade and all the background, things you didn't know but you want to know.
Oh, yeah, I always end up at the Misfits table, so that's definitely where I would be seated.
Except they know everything. But a really important thing that I was thinking as I was watching this, Mai Ling's brain is only 75% here. 25% of her brain is still thinking about murder.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I didn't expect I didn't expect what was to come at all. I was mad. I yelled at the TV. It was quite an episode.
I have thoughts as well. I did wonder. I'm like, did they build the stage over the fish pond? I don't know. Anyway, that was just like a thought that came into my head. But anyway, it's a party. It's pretty sweet, but it's a big ceremony. Do you have any other thoughts about the wedding, or do you want to go into the next ceremony?
Oh, well, I just enjoyed that it kept cutting back and forth between Buckley is screaming about, we're going to kill all the Chinese and send them into the ocean. And then it cuts back to the wedding. And so there's gold leaf falling onto Mai Ling and Li Yong, and the confetti falling from the the political parade. I thought that was a really fun bit of editing.
Oh, I was having really fun. They were mirroring these two ceremonies. These are both huge deals, sort of setting up the new world order in the white community and the Chinese community. And it is always really fun to be Buckley going these savages, rah, rah, rah. And they're all dressed in silk and intricate jewelry and have way better food and nicer windows. And
way better hygiene.
It's yeah. But yeah, it was really fun how they were switching back.
Yeah, they're savages with their clean streets and their street food that doesn't make you throw up and die. They're doctors who don't give you instantaneous infection.
Yeah, and when they did the photograph of Buckley and the smoke from the flash, and then it goes over into the incense, stuff like that. That was super duper fun. Yeah, they did a lot of great cuts back and forth.
Oh, so this is completely off topic from what we're talking about, but in the interest of educating myself and the audience,
do my best.
Any one of these, we'll just say because obviously the Chinese in San Francisco would be a much more regional thing, but the average American who is living in this time, if they were to go into the kitchen and go in, what did they have on hand? Were they buying food every day to eat, or did they have food on hand? How did they store it? Because we talked about the importance of ice. Did they have an ice box at home, people? Or
so you're talking about just the regular average American?
Yes.
At this point. Yeah, no, daily
Leary,
shopping.
If Leary was going to go home, if he had a wife.
Or what is Lucy O'Hara doing, for example?
Yes.
Okay. So if you were kind of out in the country, or even had, or kind of whatever the equivalent of the burbs were in those days, and you had kind of a garden plot, you would be going out into your garden every single day to pick whatever you were going to eat that day. The carrots, the lettuce, the herbs, the whatever.
Oh, interesting. So it was like a victory garden situation.
Oh, 100%. Now, if you were in the city, and you didn't have a garden, then yes, you would be going down to the market every single day. Or if you were living, or your servants were. And you didn't even have to,
Gotcha.
It's not unreasonable to think that somebody like Lucy would have a live-in somebody who kind of did the laundry, helped with the kids, did the marketing, or one of her older daughters would do that. But ice houses were starting to come
Even in the lower class, they had servants.
Right. And a lot of times it was just it would be that girl who got kicked out of her house, or that family down on the corner, their house burned down and all the kids need to go somewhere. And so you would take in the kid, and then she'd be your servant. Or the boy would be your fire boy, boot polisher, firewood cutter.
Okay. I guess that makes sense, because they were just replaced by appliances. I'm thinking of it oh my God, this is monstrous. But they were replaced with appliances. It got better.
Right. And it is sort of one of those back and forthy things. You're oh, that's terrible. These children were just, made the servants. But you sort of think about, if their parents were dead or crippled or whatever, where were they going to go? And orphanages sucked. You didn't want to do that. But the reason this wasn't slavery per se, and definitely not slavery in the way that American slavery was, like, you could be the house servant and, like, totally not get paid and do all the shit jobs in the houses, but you grow up, you get more skillful. You could just go out and get married and get a job, and nobody would care that you were a scullery as a kid. If anything, they're like, that's so honorable.
And, you know what, now that I'm thinking of it, like, it does, like, toasters don't need a place to live, but...
Right.
The people who are toasting the bread do, and they, like, you need that in order to have the house function. So the person's performing a function inside the house. It's not quite as distressing as it initially, because the idea of having servants just seems monstrous.
Right. And so sometimes I'll joke about hot and cold running servants. Like, if Lucy did have a servant, like, that's the person who might have actually, like, filled up the tub that Bill was in.
Okay.
You know, before he got in. Yeah, and so when I talk about remaking dresses, or like a dress could fit lots of different people of different sizes, taking it in and pulling it out, and like, once you were done with your dress, you might give it to your servant, and then they would remake it to be their clothes.
And it kind of works out that, like, the richest people are the fattest, and then the lower you go down the totem pole, the skinnier they get. So, like, you can keep losing fabric and whatever, patching holes, you can just cut it down the line and sew it back together.
Right. And so, like you were saying about ice, initially ice was just this novelty, and it, like, if you had smoked meats are going to keep better if you can keep them in a cold place. And so there'd be like an ice cellar. And so you'd put stuff in there just so it would sort of keep longer. You know, the milk would keep there overnight. The cheese would last longer. And then, like, rich people would use it to make ice cream. Ice cream started to become a thing right around the Revolutionary War. So by now, like, the whole, like, ice cream thing is happening. You are making ice. And so less and less...
Wait, ice cream started happening in the Revolutionary War? Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that old.
Oh, dude, like sherbets and ice creams and stuff. The Persians were doing that back in, like, the 13th century.
I mean, I know that it's been an excellent way to spread disease since the early 1900s with those ice cream licks, but...
Oh, yeah. Cholera for all. Peppermint-flavored cholera. Yay!
Here, lick this glass dish that everybody else in the city has licked. Well, only the poorest and sickest people have licked.
Right. Yeah. Civilized people don't eat ice cream on the street. Gross.
It's just weird to think of ice cream before refrigeration. But so they could have been eating ice cream at this wedding.
The Chinese people wouldn't have been eating ice cream because they weren't into sweet desserts. However, at Buckley's, like, celebration, yay, I'm the mayor, they might have been serving ice cream to the town grandees.
Let's go murder the Chinese and eat some ice cream.
What? They go together like peaches and cream. I don't know. That's terrible.
Well, you know what? I once had cilantro lime sherbet, and it was fantastic. So, you know, sometimes odd pairings can go well. Maybe blood and vanilla go well together. Who knows?
I don't know. Well, I mean, actually, blood and chocolate actually do go together really well.
Oh, well, there you go. And they would stain your pants the same color if you drop the dish on there.
No, it's something that they make at the boucherie that I go and help out at, which is like a big, like, winter pig butchering festival. You can find them all over Louisiana and different parts of the Southeast. Anyway, so party and political frothiness, you know, it's all going on, lots of big ceremonies. And, well, one of my favorite things about the wedding is, like, when she first comes on, and I was kind of making cracks about Assam and Atoy going, so, like, is this going to be a red wedding? And they walk out, and I'm like, no, green wedding. And that was kind of a shallow joke, too, because if you were a very important person getting married in a red silk, like, red is a very, like, lucky color in Chinese culture. And so you see paintings of brides in red silk. So when she came out in green, I'm like, see, it'll be cool. It's fine. It's a green wedding. I mean, just the whole thing was just so much fun.
She had those bangles she had on were really gorgeous. They were what kind of stone was that? Because was that jade?
Jade.
Okay,
that was jade, and that was some like serious shit there. It looked like, because you will take a big chunk of jade and you like curve that perfect circle out of it. Like that's some serious shit. But then you had put gold on the inside of it, so that was like craftsmanship of like mind-boggling ability.
It must have been heavy as hell too, those things, because jade's not light, and those things were like an inch thick.
yeah, jade's a rock, and rocks are heavy, man. Just ask the railroad workers. But she's at the table, and they're doing like the wedding banquet, and Kong Pak comes back and he's like, Li Young, yo, dude, elders, want to chat? And my Ling's like, was it just Li Young? Really? Okay. And he's like, oh, yeah, okay. I can do that. And he gets back there and he's like, okay. And Cranky Pants is like, well, now that you're the man of the family, you're going to take this evil, unruly woman in hand and show her who's boss, right?
I think that's how it came off, but I really read it because I think probably just because I find Mark Dacascos so sympathetic. I love him so much. I've been a Mark Dacascos fan since 1995. So I was like...
Oh, no, I meant the Cranky Pants guy. The Cranky Pants
guy.
Oh,
yeah. That little guy with the one eye that was kind of closed.
No.
Yeah. He is hilarious. He was a fun little character, but we didn't get to see him.
Yes, he was.
Tragically.
No. Mark Dacascos was standing between the two of them being like, be cool. No, that's not shit. Be cool. Yeah.
I'm on your side, damn it.
Yeah. You're ruining my thing. But yeah, Li Young is like, no, you're wrong about her. But Kong Pak gets to throw in the most like dooming line.
Yeah, what happened to Long Z?
Yeah, how'd he die?
Yeah. Who killed him? I feel like we know. But
you want to think about that, man? I'm not saying anything, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. Not going to say who did it, but we both know.
But yeah, Li Young proves that in his own way, he's a brave dude because he sneaks up on my Ling from behind. That was like, she could have, she just pulled out a hairpin and stabbed you through the eye or something. I don't know.
Yeah, he could have died.
But also, I felt like there was a lot in this episode that was a callback to season 1 that I thought was a lot of fun. So Agent Lee and Agent Mosley are sort of like standing on the edge of this. And I was like, oh, this is kind of a callback to the big fight when Lee and O'Hara were in Chinatown for that.
Yeah. And we forgot to mention that there was dragon dancing at this as well.
Oh, yes. And they were so much fun.
You are the authority on dragon dancing, for I have never actually seen it live, but you
have.
Yeah,
no. Never. What? I've even seen dragon dancing in San Francisco's Chinatown.
Which is more China than China, because I lived there for months and never saw any kind of dragon dancing of any kind.
Well, I was actually there for Lunar New Year, so for Chinese New Year.
Gotcha.
And the kung fu schools that they get to do the dragon dances are just bonkers. They do like the drumming, and they're doing like all the spinning and kicking and everything, kind of like they had the guys in here. And the kung fu kids who are doing this, they're like climbing up on each other's shoulders and doing flips. And I mean, it is bananas and impressive and gorgeous. But yeah, they were having fun with the dragon, with the lions dancing around in here, and they were like bright, prosperous yellow. It was great.
Ah. Oh, and I just to bring this full circle with the dragons. So it was those schools, the guys who taught the dragon dancing and the wushu that went with that, who all traveled to Hong Kong during the Opium Wars, and then when so with every progressive like revolution, more people went to Hong Kong and then started going to Taiwan and Okinawa and stuff like that, just to get the hell away from all the mess that was going on. And that's how we had that like kettle of crazy Chinese, like, that explosion of Chinese martial arts that then created karate as well.
Right. So, you're doing martial arts and you like to fight, but even people who like to fight don't like to be in wars. Wars suck.
We don't want to die. We just want to punch each other.
Right?
That's it. Like, I don't want to get stabbed or any of that. I just want to do a little punching and maybe go smoke some weed afterwards, have a couple shots.
Right. It's a very different thing. And these people who think that people who do martial arts or try to, like, pump up, martial arts are great for war, that is not why anyone who does martial arts seriously does it. None of them.
No, people who are good at martial arts train other people to go to war and just give them the basics. Because you don't want to waste your martial arts on death.
No.
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 That's why death matches make no sense as a martial artist.
We'll get to see this. But it is fun getting Agent Lee. He's hated being in Chinatown and it's been terrible. But all of a sudden he realizes he knows shit. He knows stuff. And Mosley's like, yeah, great party. And Lee's like, no, something's up, man. Mosley's like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, I was at another thing where the Hopway and the Long Z were together, and that was not because things were going to get better.
Yeah. Usually they're bleeding all over each other.
Yeah. So the fact that they're together, something is up. Something's up. Yeah.
And then we had a really interesting interaction between Chow and Lee. So Lee peels off from Mosley, and then he and Chow have this conversation where it's like they're united in that murder spree that they went on to escape from the crazy rednecks. Mm-hmm. But now Lee is asking Chow for his help, and Chow's like, it's not like that. I'm not a cop, and you shouldn't be a cop either. And Lee's hurt that Chow won't help him because he doesn't want to lock Chow up. And Chow's like, why would you even think of locking me up? Like, we murdered your whole family together.
Right.
What else do I need to do to prove to you that I'm a good guy?
Right. So, and this is like Chow and Lee working from two different versions of how to be a good and principled person. And Chow is like, it's about the deal. Like, we bonded over this transaction. Whereas Lee is like, no, I'm a principled person. And Chow's like, but are you, man? You're a strange man, Agent Lee. Sometimes you break the law. Sometimes you follow the law. Sometimes you save a life. And sometimes you kill. Like, no wonder you feel like shit. You are a confused person. I know what's what.
Yeah.
You are in conflict.
And we are now basically brothers. And now you're telling me you'll kill your whole family and arrest your brother? Like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah. And I just feel like this is a really cool episode because it really, zeroes in on all of these conflicted people and all of them, or most of them, deciding, well, I'm not going to do anything. I am not going to make a decision, which is making a decision. Mm-hmm. And I feel like this is one of the few shows that I've ever seen where they really try to drill that point home. Not making a decision is still a decision.
Yes. And I love the directors of this show for leaving these scenes in. Where Zack Snyder would have cut all this shit out and we would just be watching all the fight scenes in slow motion. Like this.
Slower.
Yes. Oh, God.
Motion.
God, it's so slow.
But don't worry, we get to have fight scenes.
Yay! This whole. So we're talking about this episode like it's not like it's The Sopranos or Downton Abbey or something. But this was basically after this is basically nothing but murder. In fact, the murder is about to start.
Exactly, because this idiot pimp dude has still not learned.
Oh, wait. Nope.
Okay.
Nope. We haven't.
Go for it.
Jesus, you are skipping things. Why
I'm so excited for the fight.
Why would you skip the PDA, though? You freaked out about bonnets. You lost your fucking mind about bonnets. And Assam and Yanmi are kissing on the dance floor. This would never, ever, 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 ever happen. Not even the newlyweds were allowed to kiss at weddings. I looked this up. Every source was unequivocal in this. This could not have happened. These people would have been shunned for the rest of their lives.
That's true.
They might as well have fucked in front of everyone.
Right.
It's the same thing. Literally the same thing.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. They were doing PDA, and that was no such thing. You go down to the Barbary Coast if you're going to kiss in front of other people. You don't do that in a polite society, not at a political rally, and not at a Chinese wedding.
Is your name Taylor Swift? Is your name Travis Kelce? If not, take it to Barbary Coast. We only want to see those two make out. That's it. They're America's sweethearts.
So, yes, but they still play it up as like, oh, it's so cute, the little happy couple, they're kissing at New Year's Eve, they're kissing at the wedding, that's still how the music and the lighting, and they even do the, like, spin around camera, which I just, like, snicker.
Do you know what film pioneered that shot, by the way? Carrie.
Like the Stephen King.
The original Carrie. 1976, on the dance floor. Yeah, and I watched a documentary about it. That was like a feat of cinema.
Oh, yeah.
And it was stolen by everybody, but like that was on a low budget deal and like was done on a dolly, and they were very proud.
Oh my God. And you just think
everybody.
about like now, like any idiot with a GoPro can just run around somebody and you have like automatic picture stabilization. Like these guys are doing it in a big ass like film camera that that has like tolerances, and so they probably had to like go in there and like sand the floor and like grease the wheels, especially on that dolly, and check the ball bearings individually so they could actually make that thing happen. And like how.
Plus, it was 1976, so they had to see through a haze
but I'm
of
also
cocaine
just thinking,
dust
like,
in the
the
air.
lighting at that, like, figuring out how to do the lighting for that. Okay, that is fascinating. Fascinating.
Plus, with everybody smoking constantly on the set, imagine what hell that was to get a
I don't
good
know.
shot.
Sometimes having particulate in the air actually can help with the lighting.
Yeah. Well, in romantic scenes like in Carrie, it would have.
But yes, it was the epitome of the romantic kiss shot, even though you're right, they would have been shunned. But enough with that.
Enough with that, because Atoy bites off a pimp's nose to spite his face.
Because does the idiot learn? You don't threaten Atoy. You either kill her right off the bat or you leave her alone. If you start threatening her, you just made your life worse.
Not only that, he said, "Fuck my Ling." What? This man's life would have been measured in nanoseconds, even if he had survived Atoy. He would have been killed so slowly. She would have, like, Unit 731 vivisected him alive or something like that.
Yeah, he's lucky Atoy killed him quick.
Yeah. But we got to see an iron fan, which was really fun.
Yes.
She slit two guys' throats with an iron fan. And for anybody who doesn't know, an iron fan is a weapon made from a fan, like a paper fan, and it has like steel shanks in it that are basically knives that would be used. What are they? I guess they use wood for those slats instead of knives.
It could be wood or it could be ivory. It could be a lot of different things.
There you go.
If you were fancy schmancy and you had like a peacock feather fan, it would just be like the halves of the peacock feathers or whatever. Now, I thought there were also iron fans that were used as signaling devices in war. They were like semaphores.
So the Japanese had a different type of iron fan that were actually made of steel or like some kind of hammered. I think they were steel,
metal.
So that's probably what it was.
Japanese. Okay,
yeah, because that would make more sense in Japan because it's so hilly. They, they could serve both as a weapon because it was a slashing weapon, just like the iron fan in China. All the weapons in Japan basically were adapted from Chinese weapons, but so yeah, it's that makes sense.
If only there were some, like, late medieval Japanese show we could check out to see what they're going to do about the Japanese weaponry. Oh, that's right. We're going to do Shogun.
Yay! Although, you know what? I might have to say, instead of Warrior's Way, maybe we should do Blazing Saddles and 1,000 Ways to Die in the West.
Ooh. Yeah, let's get some fun after all of this serious schmerious.
After all this murder. So she slashes two guys' throats with an iron fan.
She murders him.
And then perforates that pimp.
And boy, does he deserve it. tosses him to the floor, and Assam comes back. He's like, wait, didn't I just see a toy there? Maybe I should check up on her. And she says, yeah, man, still don't need you. Still good. Still got this covered.
Yeah. Even wounded and whatever.
Yeah. So the straightforward action takes a rest because now we get Father June entering his mysterious period.
Well, so Hong and young June are walking up to Father June, and they don't realize who he is when they see him. But Hong is telling young June about Marcel, which I thought was funny.
Marcel,
yeah, that was very fun. So, and I just want to remind anybody who might have forgotten, the concept of homosexuality was brand new at the end of the 19th century. So they wouldn't even have known that gay was a thing. So, like, him talking about this guy he was dating it wouldn't have been that horrifically uncommon.
Right. It was more like, yeah, there's like dudes that are into dudes. There are women that are into women. But most people, like it didn't have the evilness that it came to have in the late 19th and early 20th century.
Right. And I thought the little, like, because it was a cute little scene. They had that little ribbing where he was like, Marcel, what the hell kind of name is that? What is he, Portuguese?
He's like, he's French, I think. Like, it's clearly like that early thing where they're just getting to know each other. It's sweet. Okay, so yeah, we've got, it's our, because yeah, we do have 2 rom-coms going on. Right?
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah. And then we get Father June and young June bonding, and Father June's sitting outside because he's delusional all the time now, but he was having a moment of lucidity, so he just wanted to sit outside and enjoy it and have a smoke with young June. It was a cute scene.
My favorite part was like young June's like poking gently, like, so are you with us? Are you out of it? What's going on? And he's like, Hong, go inside and shut up. And that's when young June's like, oh, okay, it's you. You're here.
Yeah. But I will say, for anybody who's has a parent out there, or a dad in particular, I had this experience with my dad. My dad was like, very seriously, like, trying to tell me, like, I love you and I'm about to die. He was saying, I love you and I'm about to die. And he was, like, having one last, like, burst of lucidity. So this match, like, Father June's little thing was very similar to my own dad's passing. And I reacted the same kind of way where you're like, yeah, I love you too. We're going to talk about this tomorrow. What the fuck are you talking about? You just kind of like, you're like, I know I love you too. And they just keep saying it. And you're like, what the fuck is happening? Dad, come on. So it was the same.
Yeah. And I mean, young June, master of denialism. So he's like, no, you'll be fine. It's cool. And so even though, Father June's trying to, like, I love you, but also, like, lay down a couple of, like, important truths, like, Leong's going to be a follower, Assam is not. So you got to decide what you're going to do here, because he will not be your second banana. And young June's like, no, it's my brother. It's cool. So I'm just going to hear what I want. I don't admit.
Yeah. This episode did not go the way I thought it was going to go. Because me being the goody two-shoes me, I was thinking, like, oh, it's, you know what? Li Yong is going to come to his senses. He's going to team up with the Hop Way. It's going to be all good. It just did not. Or maybe even Assam's going to team up with Mai Ling, but I did not see it going the way it went.
You mean Mai Ling doing the red wedding wrong? You don't red wedding your own side.
This was just the weirdest shit. It was, but we have a tender lovemaking scene between So the last one, she's choking him and calling him a bitch, and he's like an abused spouse afterwards. And in this one, they're having a tender lovemaking scene while she's having all of the elders murdered at the same time. That's what I'm saying.
Part of her brain is on murder. Part of her brain is like doing the wedding thing.
But the reason she's happy and relaxed, all of her brain is on murder at all times. This woman doesn't have a scintilla of humanity inside of her. She is an evil piece of shit.
That's the other thing. Like, Kong Pak basically stands up for Li Yong. Like, he's my bud. He's gonna, like, he does like a little cute thing for him. Like, here's a little, like, yeah, you're getting married demo. But Mai Ling has no Nobody. She doesn't even have a maid. She like forced into like hanging around and just like being her pretend friend for the ceremony. Nothing.
No. And then she goes and tries to have Kong Pak killed, which I didn't see coming at all either, because I was like, I think Kong Pak's the only person keeping Mai Ling alive at this point, because everybody hates her. Like, so the second that Li Yong decides, bitch, I don't like you, she's dead. And now she's going to kill his best friend? That's a pretty good way to have him start rethinking his ideas about you.
I mean, like, the whole thing about, like, the Red Wedding, you, like, take out your enemies, but, like, if you take out everybody on your side who you...
Oh, this is a trope, and this is a trope?
Well, from...
People do this.
Well, no, from...
Jesus.
This is famous from Game of Thrones. It's called the Red Wedding, where one of the main characters is like, no, it's going to be okay, let's make up, and I'm offering you my daughter, and it's going to be a bond. Like, oh, cool, medieval, like... bond making through marriage, whatever. And then so the side that's going to marry into the family shows up, and then they all get killed. And it's super gory and disgusting. I never saw it, but I read about it. And so it's like a way to trick and take out your enemies. It's super dishonorable, but they dead. If you're going to Red Wedding, but you take out your own side, you're defenseless. Like, you have no more allies. You have to go out and get new allies.
But I don't know. And also, why would any of the Longzi have gone along with it? It just, none of it made any sense. But
they're
here we are.
scared of her? But yeah, like, there are layers here that we don't understand.
Yeah, there's like 100 of them and one of Li Yong. He's a bad man, but there's only one of him. Like,
though I can actually...
They could lure him into a room and trap him with a net. Like, there's a million ways you could get him that doesn't involve anybody dying.
Though I could actually see how Mai Ling pulled this off. Like, all of those elders guys, I'm sure there was, like, a ton of, like, infighting between them. And so you get the flunkies of one guy to kill the other guy, and Mai Ling says, oh, but if you kill this guy, then you'll get, like, 20% more of the profits. And the flunkies are like, oh, yeah, sounds cool. Okay, I want a bigger car.
She just had these, like, so there's 6 of them, and she just had 3 of them throw Mama from the train, the other 3.
Yeah.
So they're all killing each other, and then the other one's killing the other ones, and she just has them all wipe each other out, one after the other.
Yes. But, yeah, she just takes out her own allies, and you're like, even though, you're kind of, like, have a lot of friction with them, you don't take out your own side. You did this wrong.
So they tried to garrote Kong Pak, and then when he shows up, his voice is all jacked up because of the strangulation, and that was so dead on. My dad had a laryngectomy, so I'm used to hearing people with ruined voice boxes, and that was dead. I mean, it sounded great. It didn't sound obviously like my dad because he didn't have a laryngectomy, but his crushed voice box and the way that it kind of his breathing and everything, it was amazing.
Yeah. Okay. There are a lot of like choreographed and scripted fights that just have flashy bullshit nonsense in it, and this fight was like the opposite of it. This fight like told a story that was so good.
Yeah, they practiced for an hour before, like every single day, just as a warm-up, and it is clear in this because everything that they did had so much power, but like you said, they emote with their bodies, and I think I've mentioned it before, Chinese stuntmen call themselves body actors. And so, like, it really is a different... They're acting with their bodies because they're showing emotion through their expressions. Because they don't fear injury, and these Chinese stuntmen don't fear injury. They fear speaking on camera, is what they said in the documentary. So, there's a great documentary on Tubi about Chinese stuntmen, by the way.
But yeah, they go back and forth, and you can see both Li Yong and Kong Pak are like, "Are we doing this? Are we going to do this?" And like you can see, like they hesitate back and forth, and then there's that moment where Kong Pak is like, "Wait! I don't want to jack up my friend. What I really want to do is kill Mai Ling."
Yeah, she tried to kill me. I'm your best friend. Help me kill this bitch so we can get this over with. This is insane what she's doing, and he's just not listening.
And yet, when he tries to kill Mai Ling, that's like when Li Yong's like, "No, I'm married to her. That's when he like stops hesitating and like goes in after Kong Pak.
Yeah, and I mean, Kong Pak couldn't wait because if he waited, then Mai Ling was just going to send more people to kill him. But he needed some kind of respite, really, for this news to really fully sink into Lee Yong, I think. He needed a moment to step back and say, oh shit. But instead he broke Kong Pak's neck. And now I hate Lee Yong. I hate him. I hate him. He was a great character until he broke his best friend's neck for the most evil woman who has ever lived. But we've all had those friends.
Oh, and the second he does it, he's just like, oh shit, I am going to be haunted by this demon for the rest of my life. And so he has to just sort of like sit there in like this like terrible situation he's created for himself. And My Ling's like, yeah, but let's talk about me. And he's just like, get out.
But I did this for us.
Yeah.
What is this now? The third time? So she just keeps going. All right. So I will never, ever, 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 ever. And she ended last episode, right? With like, I will never act without telling you beforehand or talking about it before
and she does.
And then immediately.
Yes. Yeah. And it's, yeah. Lee Yong is. I mean, as tragedies go in this show, I really feel like the friendship between Kong Pak and Lee Yong was written as one of the best tragedies.
It really was. Man, I'm so sad we're not going to see more Mark Dacascos.
I know.
They're going to have to bring in Jet Li next season or something like that. Because, I mean, that's the only person who could really fill Mark Dacascos' shoes.
And when you say, like, emoting with their bodies, like, yeah, Lee Yong isn't speaking, but you can just feel his sadness. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like that comes and gets him while he's sitting there in the messed up fish pond.
Exactly. So you don't even need to be able to, because they do that in Chinese opera. Like, they don't talk. They just have somebody singing and then they do the, so it's actually a perfect thing to call them the body actor name. It's like voice actors. You don't see them act, it's a cartoon. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. They just don't talk. I love it.
Yes.
And they're a damn sight better than mimes.
I sense you have feelings, but we'll not get into that.
Who likes mimes?
Let's get back to Killian, here to bust Leary's balls.
Yes, and Leary is trying to be a better man, and it is breaking him inside. It is really, really breaking him inside because when people... now people are mouthing off to him, which is not
in his own bar.
Yeah, which he's not accustomed to. Any other time, he would just be like, all right, I'm just going to take you outside and smash you. But he can't do that anymore because now he's a politician. So he has to play by politicians' rules. And it's just totally unlike what he's used to.
I am trying to think bigger here. I am trying to create a better world for you. I am trying to be the iron hand inside the velvet glove. And you jerks won't let me. You want
me to get people who are obvious criminals out of jail, and then when I tell you I can't do it, you say, well, it could have been your kids. No, my kids weren't fucking criminals. Like, your kids are shit.
And they would have been better criminals if they were criminals. Not only are they obvious criminals, they're stupid obvious criminals. Like, be a good criminal if you're good at criminal.
I blew up half the city and didn't get caught, and everyone knew I did it.
Yeah, and O'Hara's just listening to all of this go down, and he's like, man, I thought my life was kind of crummy. Leary's getting yelled at by this shit in his own bar.
Oh, and the worst part was, and he had said this before, he got those guys jobs.
Yes.
So they were all stealing from the Chinese, and this guy's like, well, they were stealing because they're hungry. No, they were stealing because they were stealing from the Chinese.
Yes.
They thought they could get away with it.
Yeah. But he goes over to O'Hara, and O'Hara's like, you know what, man? You're my bud. All right. I hate seeing you getting pissed on in your own bar. Let's go get some get-backs.
Let's go beat the shit out of the chief, he says. Let's go get those boys out of prison. Those criminals who deserve to be there. They're Irish, though, and we're Irish, so we're going to go do Irish stuff.
But really more, this is about the chief. But yeah, I love how he just, bursts into the squad room, and he's like, all right, guys, yeah, I got fired. Who's going to be next? Like, you think he's going to keep you guys around? You idiots around? No, he's not.
Yeah, I also saw a little bit of So Bill is now working as an accountant, and he hates this job because he's been moved to accounting, and it happened like while he was shoveling dirt or whatever, and now he gets dragged in and forced to do accounting, totally unprepared, and who even knows if he knows how to do math.
Well, and the other thing was like, yeah, he's super hated being out in the nasty, dusty job, and Horace was sort of sneering at him, but then he's in there and now, Horace is like, oh shit, this is worse, because now Horace can like just sit there and sneer at me the whole damn day, and I can hear him doing it. Wait.
Yeah.
I
So
think
Leary needs a hand? Maybe I can go be an Irish politician.
Yeah.
I really think that's what happened. I think that light went off in his head, and he was like, maybe I'll do this then.
Yeah. And when he goes in there to fight Atwood, I'm like, well, after that last fight with Lee Young and Kong Pak, this fight is also going to be kind of for keeps. Like, we're not screwing around. Like, you go after Atoy, she will take you out. You know, every fight in this episode feels like it's going to be for keeps.
So I didn't even think they were going to go in there and fight the cops. I thought what was initially happening, which was him negotiating the release, I thought that's what was going to happen. So when they got down there and they started to get the guys out, and Atwood shows up and then says, all right, well, you're going to have to fight me, and if you win, then you guys can take these guys out. But if you lose, then you are going to go into jail with these guys. And then it turns into a steel cage match in the prison, Hell in a Cell, Atkinson and O'Hara. It was amazing. I was so excited.
And it was so fun because, once again, this is like a flashback to season 1 where you get the fight in the cell.
Right, exactly.
And so I felt like they were having fun with these callbacks, but doing them sort of in like this, it wasn't like a 1-for-1. It was sort of like this slant again on the same theme. And I really think like at first O'Hara and Leary are like, yeah, let's like go remind these cops like where their loyalties lie. We're going to go in. I didn't think they went in to necessarily like kick in Atwood's head to begin with. They just wanted to like, let's get the loyalty back.
Well, it's the middle of the night. They don't expect Atwood to be there. And they even say when they get to the police station, they're like, you guys are on the rookie shift. Like, this guy hates you so much, he put you on the rookie shift. Mm-hmm. So just let us take these guys out. You're about to get fired anyway, clearly, because you're on the rookie shift. Mm-hmm. So, like, rookies are about to replace you guys.
Yeah, there was a little bit of, like, we've got to hang together because otherwise we're going to hang separately. Like, he's going to take you out one at a time.
Right. And so this fight scene was great. The way it was choreographed, mm-hmm. I had an absolute epiphany about the fighting, and because I have never understood that weird fighting stance they had in the 19th century, where they held one hand out front and mm-hmm. then they had the other hand back. When I started learning about destreza, which is a fencing technique, where it was the Inigo Montoya thing, where you put the sword on the guy's chest.
Right.
And you fence him that way. So that's a method of keeping a distance to hold a person kind of at bay, but you can also measure the distance with it. And it has the same effect of that the Chinese boxing technique where they put their hands together and you kind of feel the person's motion, and that's how you do the initiate the contact. So that lead hand, because you could see Atwood parrying with his lead hand, because most of what they did back in the day was to parry and grapple with that lead hand. Okay. But then I realized the whole stance, that weird-ass stance with their hands down by their hips, comes from fencing. And so the way the jab evolved was because they were, like, parrying and stuff like that. It was a real short, quick, it was a jabbing motion. And then it evolved into this thing because people started moving their hands up to cover their head. But that's why it came low initially. It just never made any sense to me before, but this show was the reason why I was able to do that. While I was at the same time going, when O'Hara got his face smashed into the bars, I was like, that would have broken his whole face. All his teeth would have fallen out of his head. He probably would have died right there, but he would have died 3 days later from an infection one way or the other. Like, that fight was over the second his face...
I know. I was just like, how did he get up? But what you were saying about the boxing totally makes sense, because the people, like, teaching fighting to rich people, they wouldn't have taught them boxing at first. They would have taught them fencing. But after a while, I'm sure, like... I'm sick of fencing, or I want to do something else. I want to do some cross training. And they're like, oh, okay. And so like developing the like school of boxing instead of guys just like going out and whamming on each other. That totally makes sense.
Yeah, so boxing, when James Figg kind of invented boxing, he was a fighter in Britain, and boxing became kind of a sideshow sport for his school because he taught like the fighting arts. And so at that time, fencing had it had a round you could do hand-to-hand combat in. And so the way that fighting was taught in the 19th century was it's fencing for your fitness, fencing and swimming for fitness, and boxing for self-defense, because you needed self-defense for hooligans and thugs and brigands and robbers and all that sort of thing. So
right. And when you're doing hand-to-hand combat, it was pretty common, like you'd have the buckler, like the small shield, or you'd like use the butt end of your dagger or a sword. Because like if you didn't want to like spill blood and like make things worse, and you just wanted to clock somebody, you'd use the blunt end, the handle,
or the flat of your sword.
Yep. Yeah. But bringing up, okay, there's a lot going on. Okay, very cool. Love it.
But if it wasn't for the fact that these guys were literal body actors, there's no way that I would have picked that up. So I cannot say enough how much I love this show. It is so good.
And once again, they are totally telling the story with this fight. And the first thing you get reminded of is how ugly American fighting is. It's amateurish, it's messy, it's sloppy, it's loud compared to like that precise, beautiful stuff we just saw one fight ago.
Yeah, it's really a matter of fighting to kill rather than, and it's fighting to kill for nothing, rather than fighting to prove a point and carry on with the business of your life without dying or being disfigured.
Right.
So yeah, and one is sensible, the other one is complete idiocy, but we have been stuck on stupid in America since we started. So here we go.
But yeah, I just super enjoyed that complete contrast. Like, here's one way you could fight, and here's another way you could fight. And I mean, and they've got like the back of the bar Irish kibitzing, like hands up. I mean, just all the useless commentary from the peanut gallery. It was Leary is screaming at him the whole time, like he's a corner man. It was amazing, right?
Yeah, and so the captain is beating the shit out of O'Hara, and then catches him on the way down to the ground. And I was like, "Ooh, so he didn't die?" Because I have a tendency, just because of Jeet Kune Do, to catch people before they hit the cement, because if they hit their head on the cement, they can die, and which is bad. And but no, he just caught him so he could keep beating him, and so he headbutts him, and then O'Hara's like, "Stop!" And the guy's like, "Oh, you're giving up?" And he's, "No, stop talking!" And then hits him with an uppercut and proceeds to beat him up.
Yeah. That was his hulking up moment there. But I was watching this, and I was just like, it's not as pretty, but it's just as brutal. Nope, more brutal. I think this is more brutal.
And yeah, he totally did Hulk up there. That really was he was going into his Hulkamania there.
So yeah, that ends in like a literal bloody mess. And so of course,
it was amazing though. Did you catch the thing that the first thing they said to him, the second that the guy who led him downstairs said to O'Hara?
What?
"Come on, Bill, we need to get you to a doctor."
Yeah. So yeah, we go from that and like, whoop. By the way, there's still romantic stuff going on. Hee. And it's like, jerked you into Assam and Yeonmi.
Yeah, they just they pulled the needle off the record, and Assam's like, "Oh yeah, Youngjoon's gonna kill you soon, so you need to go."
Yeah, but he like tries to sort of soften the blow. He's like, "Yeah, no, it's nothing personal." And Yeonmi is like, "Yeah, stop blowing smoke up my skirt. I know he's going to try to kill me. So, yeah, no. I see. He's getting that knife out. Yep. I'm good. Just give it to me straight, dude."
That nothing personal, so nonsense too. Especially when they're like, it's nothing personal, and they're going to kill you. I think it's pretty personal. Feels very personal to me. I think.
Yeah. But then we get another season 1 flashback where Bill O'Hara is just fucked up in his house, and Lucy is like,
yeah. Which you already killed the gigantic Irishman who beat you this badly the last time. What happened? Oh my God, he's gambling again. And she just takes the whiskey bottle and he's poured a massive coffee cup full of whiskey and she just starts necking it. I loved it. Just, oh fuck, what the hell's going on now?
She's like, no, I don't even have time for glassware at this point. And then, but she does say, did you at least get the boys out? Yeah. She's like, well, at least you got beat up for something worthwhile for a change. Jeez. But are they coming for you? Yeah, they're going to come arrest me.
It seemed like she approved, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it wasn't gambling. It wasn't any nefarious activity. He's not up to anything other than trying to do the right thing, sort of.
Right. And so that's why, again, it was like a reflection of season 1 rather than a repeat.
But now he's falling into his bad habits where he's doing the wrong thing for he's just, again, trying, and this is a thing that guys do. We try to find reasons to excuse being violent.
Right?
Like, oh, well, that's why I had to beat that guy up because he did such and thus. And it's like, oh my God, you're just making excuses to beat people up.
Well, you know who's trying to find excuses for being violent? Lee Young. He's talking to Wong Chow. He's like, man, I'm pretty sure I had a good reason for that. Didn't I? Maybe. I think. Help me.
No, he was definitely right and I was wrong, but now he's dead and I'm alone. So would you like to be my friend, Wong Chow, please? I made you a friendship bracelet. And Wong Chow's like, ooh, you are stupid. But the only reason you're alive is that she married you to protect herself. So you have lots of power, and remember that. Also, Wong Chow is your friend. Remember that, too.
Yeah. But also, I am your friend, but... Yeah, but again, Lee Young is another one of these guys who, has to make a decision, and he knows what the decision is, and he's not making that decision, and so he's making a lot of other decisions that are making his life progressively worse.
There is a phenomenal quote by a fiction author named Joe Abercrombie, and it is better to do something than to live in the fear of doing it. And I love that quote. They say it all the time in his books, and it is amazing.
Oh, it's sort of that, like, a hero only dies once, but a coward dies 1,000 deaths.
That one doesn't strike me the same, because this, like Lee Young, for instance, he doesn't want to face hard truths. But in real life, that type of thing, at least for me, sits in the back of my head. It's always, there's 10% of my brain's always going, you have to do this, you have to do this, yeah, but you have to do this. Even when I'm enjoying myself, yeah, but you still have to do this. And it's like, fuck it, I might as well just get it over with so I can have 100% of my brain rather than the 10% devoted to trying to get me to not do that, which always spins you off into terrible side quests that never, as we see here with Lee Young, they never amount to shit. You might as well just get it over and done with, and then you can carry on with your life.
Get the hard thing, done.
Boy, that was a nice thing about turning 40. It was like a light went on your head and you're like, you know what? I'm just going to do it fucking right the first time rather than badly 6 times.
Because we're running out of time here, man.
I'm just sick of doing things over and over and over again. I'd rather just get it right the first time.
Yeah. But you know who's going to keep doing the wrong thing over and over again? Young June. Because he is Young June.
He doesn't really have any other... although he is handling his dad's dementia remarkably well. Young June, the way that I had him pictured in my head, would have killed his dad already, I think. Just out of annoyance.
There is that, but you also know that Young June isn't having to, do laundry or feed his dad or anything. He's just, showing up to chat with him, occasionally with a bottle of whiskey. But
when your dad's running around a crazy, angry pirate man, 12 hours a day,
true,
it's going to wear you down after a while. You don't.
It is, but and this is the thing. Young June is also facing this fear. It was one thing when his dad walked away, and that was kind of Father June walked away into the mists of time, and I can not be responsible. He didn't have any choice about that. but now that he's back, he's like, oh God, if Father June is gone, like if he dies, he is gone. Like he is super gone. And I think that scares young June.
Well, they also have finally gotten a chance to bond. Like, they finally, like, he's gotten some respect out of his dad. He understands his dad finally because he's had to carry the yoke of power. And so he appreciates his dad now. And now he's losing his dad to dementia. So, it's sad. But it's, that's life. that's literally how life happens.
There's definitely these layers. Like, I have my cool dad now, finally. And if he dies, like this thing that I finally gotten absolutely is going to be gone. But then also like all of his guidance that he's finally giving me, God damn it.
Yeah. Rather than just telling me I'm a fucking idiot.
Just there's, I mean, change is scary, and he can just sort of see the change coming. And young June's like, shit. I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for this. So yeah, he is really like trying to hold back the tide there. Yeah,
but Father June is hallucinating again and doing this crazy pirate thing and attacks young June with a knife and cuts his neck and then freaks out.
Yes,
because he realizes when young June finally gets him to realize what he's done. He then Father June's just a wreck because now he knows like he's a danger to the only person he loves. So
yeah. And there's a little bit of like, why did you bring me back from the brink of death? I could have died in a gunfight. Like,
which is what he was trying to do. It's literally what I was trying to do. I was trying to die, and you let me live.
Yeah, it was like, take me back to Chinatown so I can die among my own people. Like, I can have like a glorious like flame out in front of people who give a shit. But no, you have to like do abdominal surgery on me in the 19th century, you dipshit.
Well, hey, he's doing a hell of a lot better than a white person would have done at this time.
Right. But he's just still mad.
Oh, no, pack it with dirt.
There you go.
Use the dirt with more rocks.
There you go.
It's good minerals.
Some dung. There you go. It'll be nice and hot.
Oh, yeah.
No, but there's very much that sort of like, you did surgery on me? No. I was supposed to have a glorious gunfighter's death. Like, what the fuck, man? So that looks like it's going to be the end. It makes sense it's the end, but no. We get a cliffhanger.
Oh, the killing is not done yet. Well, it is for this episode, but it sets up murder's going to happen the second the next episode starts. And it was physically painful for me not to immediately watch the next episode. But I have learned my lesson. I will completely lose track of the plot if I watch ahead. So,
and they framed this so well. You come into the house, Strickland is like, I'm coming in to all of my servants who look after me.
With his giant bodyguard on his heel. That guy has to be 7 feet tall. He is humongous.
Just big dude. He was like, well, I didn't win the money down at that Mexico fight, and I managed not to die, so, hey, Strickland, you need a bodyguard? This looks like a sweet gig. You get nice shoes out of it. But, yeah, we get the focus in on Lai, and she's a maid in Strickland's house. And my thought is, I'm like, are you ready, Grasshopper? Or is your anger still too hot?
I don't know. We're going to see. Well, if she doesn't do it with stealth, that giant man will just do what the Hulk did to Loki in the first Avengers movie and just grab him by one arm and smash her on the ground over and over and over until she's beauty human.
But the foreshadowing, I mean, the heavy-handed but very coolly filmed foreshadowing where Lai just blows out the candle, I was just like, that was fun. That was fun.
Yeah, because it shows her from the back, and she's like by a grand piano or something, and then she turns around and she's holding a candle, and her face is lit up, and then she blows out the candle, and it ends.
This was a wonderfully filmed episode. Like, this is another one where you're like, damn, that was so fun to watch.
And I am just going to keep an eye on this woman. She is so phenomenal as a director. I can't wait for the last 2 episodes of Halo. But, I mean, I can't wait for the 3rd episode of Halo. It is so good, the second season. The first season was amazing, too. So,
all right. Well, I'll have to pick that up and check that out. Okay. So, speaking of Death next episode, I mean, Death is in the title. All of Death is a going home. So the only question really for next week is what's the body count going to be?
Jesus. The only one going home right now is Kong Pak, who was being shipped home by Chow.
Yes.
So I wonder if this is Kong Pak related. Maybe he got dim-mocked into a coma. He's going to come to in his coffin, fight his way out, jump off the ship, swim back to shore, kill Mai Ling. We'll keep Mark Dacascos in the show. If it was Young and the Restless, I'd get my wish.
100%. But you'd always be wondering, is it Kong Pak or is it his twin brother? No, I have a feeling that Father June is not long for this world. I mean, he is ready to punch his ticket. He is ready to check out.
When the little squinty man with the gravelly voice got hatcheted to death in his bed, I thought that was Father June getting killed. I actually watched it twice, and I was like, "Oh no, it's a little squishy face man."
Yeah, cranky pants.
Yep, cranky pants.
So I mean, I also sort of feel like this was the climax episode, and like everything is just going to kind of run downhill from here. Like all of the storylines are set up.
Wow, you really painted a picture here. Picture there. This is so it climaxed.
Yeah,
we don't know where, but now it's just running down something.
Yeah.
Pants.
Well, just like a lot of like things that were like, will it happen? Won't it happen? Is it going to happen? And it's like, okay, they got married. You know, she went after the elders. You know, the conflict between Atwood and O'Hara, you know, came to a head.
We know the formula now. The crescendo is going to come in the next episode, and then the 10 is going to be the aftermath. Because now we know there's a fight episode. We know there's the one-off episode that's going to be kind of a western-y thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're kind of building a formula here.
And so it's sort of like all of the storylines for the rest of the season are locked in, which means we are never going to see Penny again. She's gone. She has disappeared.
You think?
I think so.
Who knows? Maybe a Netflix executive just loves that actress and they'll bring her back. Since it's now been moved to Netflix.
Yes. And it's going to show up. It's going to get started up this month. So very exciting.
Season 4 gets started this month?
No. Oh. All of the shows are showing up on Netflix this month.
Oh, okay. I was like, what? How the hell did that happen?
How did I miss that? No, it's going to go on Netflix this month, and then they're going to see how it does and then decide whether or not they're going to do a season 4.
Gotcha. Yeah, because even Perry Young's talking about it on Instagram, like, go on Netflix and do the Netflix thing. So maybe I'll have to sign back up for Netflix after I terminated my 25-year relationship.
Yeah, well, I mean, the shows are still on Max.
Oh, okay. Well, then I won't need to because
it's just that they're also on Netflix. So if you don't,
because I know Netflix. It's been 3 months, so they've deleted my ratings history of the 25 years of rating movies. That Wow. But I mean, they got rid of the rating system anyway. But I had been writing reviews and because. You had Netflix early on because you were on the West Coast as well, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, I was back in the days when the DVDs would show up in your mailbox.
Yeah, and you used to be able to write reviews and then message other people about movies on Netflix. It was a whole thing. I thought they were going to make a dating site out of it, frankly. It would have been the greatest way to meet people ever.
Right? But no, they couldn't figure out how to make that profitable, so they did something else. And it's very annoying.
At least I got to watch all those movies on DVD. I mean, I watched because they had literally every movie that had ever been printed on DVD. So if you wanted to see it, you could on Netflix. It was dope.
I mean, that's the one thing that I wonder about because when they ended the DVD service, because they no longer send you DVDs anymore, and that service existed up until like the end of 2023.
Yeah, which is wild because I haven't owned a DVD in 10 or 15 years probably.
But I was like, there has to be a way to make that profitable for somebody to keep that library and have that be like a checkout system. There has to be some way to make that profitable because that is an incredible resource of movies that people are just not going to be able to find for like a really long time.
At least until Netflix digitizes the damn things, which I don't...
But they are never going to, because, no. I mean, we think about, like, oh, you can see anything. No, you can only see things that are popular or profitable. All of this, like, really super obscure stuff, they just sort of get rid of it because it takes up space, and space does cost. We think it doesn't because it costs so much less than it used to, but it does. It costs. You have to rent that capacity from somewhere.
Yep. Well, we can hope.
Yep. And so once again, it proves that the only thing that continues to be valuable is real estate.
Oh, boy. So people can find me on the Instagrams, Plague of Strength. Post every day. I make straight fire. Get there, follow me at Plague of Strength. Where can they find you?
You can find me on my other podcast, The History of American Food, and my
Cheater. You are a cheater. You're a dirty cheater.
Why am I?
I can't even look at you right now.
Why? What did I do?
Because you're cheating on me with this other podcast.
I'm cheating on my other podcast with you. I was with that podcast first.
I'm nobody's side piece. Yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Tell us about the history of American food. I just had to say that.
Oh, my next episode is about drugs during the Revolutionary War through the War of 1812. Did you know they were huffing nitrous at the end of the 18th century?
What?
Yes.
They were doing whippets?
Yes.
That's crazy. They were doing hippie crack. There wasn't even Pink Floyd.
Anyway, all sorts of fascinating drug history and how in America it was not used to help out the soldier because drugs was for rich people.
Boy, shit ain't changed. At least, like, with the drugs. You know, when you think about, like, because... Especially when you hear an old person talking, like they never had drugs back in the day. Nobody ever did them. It's crazy. Nobody ever smoked weed. But then you're like, so they were huffing ether. They were doing whippets. They were all coked up. They were smoking weed. They were on all the same shit we were on, and then a bunch of other stuff. They just found out that the Romans did henbane recreationally.
What?
Like they have proof now. Yeah.
Oh my god. So they are all dirty liars. Everybody talking about the golden age of our pure past when we didn't do any drugs. They are liars. Lying liars.
Even monkeys in the wild are drunk as shit whenever they can be.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. The lemur and the sort of the lemurologists. Yeah, you should listen to them talking about the lemurs, checking out the psychoactive stuff on Madagascar. It's a trip.
And just the fermented fruit thing is really fun. Like, just they can get drunk as shit, and they will only eat fermented fruit once they can find it. So they just stay. Anyway,
we will see everybody next week and check out the body count.
Yep, it's going to be violent. It'll be fun. All right, guys, we'll see you next week.
See you later. Bye. We're on Instagram at PCG Podcast, and you can always reach out to us by email at pcgpodcasters@gmail.com. And you can find more dope beats like this one from royalraven.com.